Everybody, welcome to the brand new episode of the Irish Wrestling Podcast. Delighted today to be joined by Damo and Axel, also known as Sanity. They are currently on their tour. They're back traveling America. They're currently the Progress Tag Team Champions. They won those during WrestleMania week. They're here to talk about that and also their tour of North America and their plans for the future as Sanity and as single stars. Lads, welcome to the show. How are you getting on? How's everybody?
Thanks very much for having us there. We're Axel's traveling over tomorrow to America, so I'm sure he's mid-pack.
Packed
I'm
already.
ready to go. Yeah, that's like today was just a mess because like you don't want to forget anything. But the thing is, it's Florida, so you don't need too many clothes, like long clothes. Just pack some tanks and some shorts in there. No, I'm super stoked.
Like what I'm boarding right now, you know.
Factor 50 and tank tops, that's all you need.
Yeah, and there's also I think there's something like a Marshalls or a Ross is close by. So just in case I forgot something, it's America, so you can buy stuff everywhere around the corner.
Are you staying, Demo, is he staying in at your house? Are you putting him up or are you staying close by?
He isn't. He's going to be
Brilliant.
staying with me and my wife and our two doggies. So Axel, we're looking forward to having him.
Yeah, I bring a cat with me, so let's have some fun.
Lads, I'll talk to you. I know you're back in North America. You're back to the other Sanity. You've been back for a while. You've done a few Progress shows of Sanity, and you even had Eric Young at Progress there last year, as a trio. Like, but how did the chance of Sanity coming back together after all this time? When did you decide, what, we should team up again and just go out and kick some ass?
You go ahead, Axel, man.
I think it was a neat idea and let's say a coincidence of like a tour schedule from EY for Eric Young.
Mm-hmm.
So Progress had to show up and they booked Eric Young and then they counted 1-on-1 together. So they said, hey, Big Damo is part of our roster, Axel is part of our roster, and we book EY, so let's do the Sanity gig. And Damo and I, we tagged before EY was booked by Progress. Before that we tagged together, but not officially as the name Sanity, I assume. But they had the idea, and I think it all came to full conclusion when they saw that EY is in the UK during that time. So they booked him. They put us together. A very good friend of us. He's a great musician, Dave Grunewald. He produced the theme for it, so you can listen to that theme on Spotify and everywhere else where you can stream music. Very original. It's kind of the original one, a little bit tweaked one, a little bit harder version, but it reminds us on the good old days of Sanity with the helicopter sounds. But overall, like the fans of Progress, they took that opportunity. They came to the show. They enjoyed the act. They enjoyed the performance of us being back together.
Yeah,
almost the entire band being back together. But it worked. The people loved it. So Progress did the logic way just to keep the ball rolling with Damon and myself tagging. And I'm sure when EY is around in the UK and there's a Progress show around that. They take that chance again just to get him maybe in, and then the band is almost back together again.
Yeah, you're going to be in North America for the month of May and travel around. Have you arranged to meet up with EY? Are you planning on maybe doing a surprise appearance somewhere, or it won't be a surprise if you tell me here, like, but is that something
the problem with America being so massive, Jerry?
Yeah.
So we're actually in two different parts of the country whenever we're wrestling. So EY in a third part of the country. So if we could make it work, maybe we will if we're a bit closer to him the next time. I know we're going to try and have Axel over a couple of times before the end of the year, and we'll definitely try to make up with them and hang out with them and smoke cigars. Apparently, that's what he wants us to do. So we hopefully get a chance to get a bit closer to where EY is. Sadly, like it's from where I live, a 10-hour drive or whatever, so maybe a bit longer. I think maybe for the next time if we're a little bit closer. But we both love EY. We connected with them right away when we got together. We got very lucky, Axel, because when you get put in a tag team by WWE originally, you could put with somebody very different mindset, very different ability set.
Yeah.
And we kind of hit the jackpot because we have a lot in common as people and as wrestlers. And then having the likes of EY being able to kind of guide us with all of his television experience, so we realized how lucky we got, and that's why one of the reasons why we wanted to do the team was, yes, obviously there was interest from Progress, but also there was massive interest from Axel and I. So because we like doing it, we love hanging out with each other. We found it really easy when we were on the road traveling. We really jammed together, and everything was really easy. There's people sometimes you travel with who you're like, for God's sake, that is the last person one. And Axel is not that. And we recently, when we were in Dubai, we did singles matches in Dubai, and we had the room together for the first time in a long time. And no time passed, Axel, man. It was so easy. So, and that's something that I noticed the most when I'm around Axel. He's a genuine gentleman, very easy to talk to, very easy to be around. We have. Even when we first kind of met each other and started hanging out with each other, it's almost like we knew each other for a long time. It was very interesting. We only met like a couple of times in Germany, but we didn't have a long time for conversations.
Yeah.
But Axel helped me a lot with my tryout that was coming up. He gave me a lot of good advice. Stuff I wasn't really thinking about, and I went and smashed the tryout. So I can thank Axel for a bunch of stuff. So. But we got very lucky. We got very lucky.
Whose idea was it to put these all together? Whose idea was Sanity originally in NXT? Was that something Triple H's did? Yeah,
his baby.
And you were there for the original part. Do you want to tell Jerry about the first part?
Yeah. So they told us there is an idea, and Triple H has this idea for years, and then they told kind of like us, which was Sawyer Fulton and myself, that we two were kind of like on the list for the guys who would kind of fit for this idea. And then later on, Eric Young got kind of like he debuted on NXT, but he was a freelancer that day or at that time, and then he got under contract, and then they told us, like, I remember when Regal pulled us to the side and just introduced us to Eric and said, yeah, this is Eric Young, those are the guys, and the idea is just, we guys want to have you in a group, but not just a normal group or stable, nothing really wrestling specific. It's about a character where Triple H has that idea for years, probably around 2011. And the idea was Smoking Aces.
yeah,
And I knew the movies. I knew what he was kind of like aiming for. So like the three brothers, the drummer brothers from Smoking Aces, some assassins, total psychopath. They would kill people with a knife instead of shooting them because the knife is more, sadistic. So it's kind of that mentality. And then before we debuted on television, they put us with Nikki Cross together. So, and then after a while, we had our first, let's say, takeover debut and takeover Toronto. Great atmosphere, everything. But unfortunately, or in that case, fortunately, you can decide. Sawyer Fulton tore his pec. And unfortunately for him, because for him was like a great chance, like just to have something on TV, something where he can build something up.
yeah,
But he was not that experienced enough just to deal with it. And then that's the way wrestling works, right? Somebody's unluck is somebody's luck. In that case, my Irish fellow right here with the Lucky Shamrock on his shirt. He was the guy who took his place, but so his path was originally the UK tournament, if I remember correctly, right? But then they took him out of that and they put him with us, and it fit like a fist on the eye. So perfectly, and especially because, as Damo mentioned, we knew each other from Germany and we had always a great chat. And then as soon as Damo arrived at NXT, it was always like, hey, let's tour together, and everything was easy peasy. So, and then Nikki Cross was already a part of our stable, so his real life fiance or already wife. So
fiance at that point,
fiance at that point. So the group came together, and since then, I remember it was hard time for Sawyer. So I kind of had bad feelings for him, But as they told us, the train is rolling and it will not stop right now. So if
Yeah.
somebody has to hop up, he needs to hop up right now because, nobody's waiting for that. And since then, it got up like a skyrocket. And then, yeah, funny times.
Yeah.
One of it's one of those things with Sawyer. Like, it was bittersweet for me,
Yeah.
because it was actually a conversation with Terry Taylor who helped put it in perspective for me, because I felt terrible. Axel and I, we both loved Sawyer. He was a great guy.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. I ran into him recently. Actually, he's a great fella. But Terry Taylor said it to me. He said, "If not you, then who?" And I was like, "Shit." I've always wanted to be in WWE. It's been my dream. And it sucks that I'm not. I'm taking effectively somebody else's spot, but history is littered with these eventualities. All of our favorites have all been in this situation. So, this is one of those things you have to kind of man up and do it. And it was a shame for Sawyer, but it was the best possible thing that could have happened to me at the same time. So it was definitely bittersweet. But as I said before, I'm walking into a group with my wife. And Axel and EY, and immediately I think we clicked really quick, and I think like by a couple of shows really, like it made sense really quickly. Axel and I started teaming, doing tag stuff on the Florida Coconuts, while we were trying to figure out what they really wanted from us. But within 6 months, we were God, when we when we opened the show in Orlando for Takeover Orlando. The crowd was absolutely nuts, and like we kind of knew, man, shit, we're going to turn babyface soon. And that literally, and I think a lot of that's down to Axel's energy and Nikki's energy. Like they really brought something different to the WWE because they just got lost in character. I had to be stoic, and EY had to be more like the babbling fucking salesman or whatever the fuck he was meant to be. We both had to be a bit more like stationary, but Axel and Nick just went crazy, and that really, I think the crowd understood that this was different. And it's something Axel and I always get like conversations from fans, who talk about Sanity, all the time, But before we started teaming again, and you would get messages online, or you would get messages when you're in shows. Oh, we loved Sanity and everything, and because it was so different. And I think like the work that Axel and Nikki did, like I remember, like there was one of the times. I think Nikki came back and she was just like, I just got so lost in the character. And I think that's awesome. And I think Axel was the same. Axel was like,
Oh, yeah.
Axel was like this proper, like hard-hitting technical wrestler who now is suddenly doing this awesome, like creepy character. And I think like, we had a lot of people to thank for that, because I know you spoke a lot to Terry, and you spoke a lot to Scotty Hardy and a bunch of others about trying to find the character, in a way. But you did such a good job of doing it, and then it was so cool being in the ring watching guys run around like fucking crazy, because the crowd just reacted so hot to it. And like within a couple of months of that, we were definite baby faces. And originally they wanted us to feud against AOP, and AOP were the baby faces. But the moment kicked their ass, we beat them up and did the most heelish thing possible. And the whole time they were like, Sanity, Sanity. So like, thankfully WWE went, okay, they're the baby faces.
Yeah. It was also a funny process where becoming Sanity, and I remember that it was Sawyer and we had, I think it was the second round in the Dusty Classic in 2017 where we debuted Sanity. The first round was Ty Dillinger and the debut in Bobby Roode.
That was 2016, bro. 2016.
2016, yeah, that was 2016. So yeah, 2017 was more our year. Yeah. So 2016, and then the second round, and that's mad multiverse right now. It was TJP and Kota Ibushi against Sawyer Fold and myself. So, and we beat them, but something in the match went a little bit wrong, and like just to call it out, I wrestled too much. And they've been on our ass for that. They've been like, listen, if you don't get the job done, if you don't understand that character, and it's very important, they waited for years and years and years to finally have that and do that. If you don't understand it, we can replace you like this. and being like kind of like in the situation like, whoa. And I remember that time, Sawyer and I, we were in the class of Terry Taylor. And Terry Taylor is a pretty old school guy. He's an awesome trainer. He's an awesome
The
coach.
best.
He has
The
so much knowledge, and he's a very funny dude. But he teach you how to wrestle. Let me rephrase it. He teach you like to wrestle. So
Wrestle.
it's like the good old
Yes.
80s stuff and whatever. And everything what he is teaching you is true. And still to this day, I still do a lot of his like tips and tricks and still use his knowledge, what he taught me just to, get the crowd behind me and just, get moments and everything. But we had to talk with him the day after we got kind of like chewed out, like, listen, Terry, with love and respect, because that was always his phrase, right? With love and respect. So we said, we cannot do what you ask us to do. We cannot wrestle. Like they treat us, they threaten us like to replace us. And this is right now our in for television. This is our thing. We be on the telly and we just can perform on those tapings. It's very important. So I'm sorry, but we need to be kind of like street guys. Like we have, instead of just a lockup, we have to try just to goozle the guy or fist punches, pulling eye like balls out and just biting the nose or whatever, try to push out some teeth, like ridiculous, silly, and sadistic shit, right? So, and that moment was kind of like, all right, they don't want to have me wrestle, but I love wrestling, so I'm kind of like, what should I do? But then in the end, you follow the script. That's what you get paid for. And then in the end, you figure something out. And then you had like guys like Terry or even mentioned Scotty Tuhati, who helped me so much with that character. And he was kind of like giving me some scenarios or just give me some ideas to think about it and how to kind of like get this whole character together, but not just invent a character, just deep dive into myself, what I like, how I am, and just, everybody has maybe some ticks, and I have a lot of them. So just how can I pull out this trick card about like, this is me, just turn up to 11, but you will feel not quite comfortable sitting next to me when I'm entirely smiling to you and just kind of like threaten you just to choke you out, something like that. And then just evolving with that. And as Damo said, the dynamic was crazy. And speaking about crazy, to paraphrase Triple H, you all guys, you're psychopath. You play around and you're kind of like enjoying the suffering, you're the suffering victim, but Nikki is the one who actually pulls the trigger and just, guys, what are you waiting for? So she was also like very important for the entire group dynamic.
Crazy. Like it went on for a while. Like you were top. Like people, like you said, people love Sanity. At the start for a long time, and then you know, the old cliche of people go up to the main roster and things don't work out. Like, but you're teaming, or don't you're teaming with Shane McMahon, and was your henchman for him during a period with the
That
Miz.
was later.
What?
The main issue with when we went to the main roster was we went up without Nick, and we were baby
Yeah.
faces in NXT, and we were having a great run against Undisputed Era, and we went up to SmackDown as brand new, we're villains, but we were meant to debut the week before we actually debuted, but they ran out of time, so we were actually going to debut in the main event. And make an appearance. While it was like a 6-man tag, New Day versus Miz,
Yeah.
and a couple of. So it was meant to start there, but then like they ran out of time. So the week later, we were meant to debut again, but Shinsuke Nakamura gets bitten by a bomb dog. So EY ends up having to do like a random singles match that becomes a tag match. It was a complete mess. So we just started a bit awkwardly, and then obviously going up there with Nikki, who's effectively the heart of the group, because she was what Hunter, as Axel explained, she was so important to the dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
So because the dynamic kind of is slightly off, and then you're up, and things kind of go wrong right from the start. You're just kind of like, oh shit. Don't get me wrong, we got very lucky, we traveled the world, we had a lot of fun, we wrestled some great people, but sometimes like first impressions can be the most important, and it just didn't quite happen for us right off the bat. We still had some great matches, and we got like Axel and I getting to wrestle like Daniel Bryan and Kane and stuff like that. It was very cool. And then just for us, those are big moments. As the Usos so many times, and New Day, and we got like a lot of things that we wanted from the experience we managed to get. But the hard part is that transition from NXT to WWE. It was two different people in charge and two different visions, And the thing was, and I've told this story before, but I'll tell it really quickly. One of he's now the head writer in NXT. He actually told me a really hilarious story when he was working on the main roster. He said that Vince saw a promo that we had done. I think it was one that we did in Atlanta in the basement. Axel, I don't know if you remember it.
Yeah.
And Vince apparently loved it so much. He said, "Right, get them up here right now." And they were like, "Oh shit, okay." So like, it was like suddenly we were in the middle of feuds. I was feuding with Lars, and like you guys were champs. You had to drop the belts, and so all this kind of happened all really quickly. And then Vince watched the same promo 3 weeks later and hated it. So everything kind of stalled. And that's just how it goes. I understood some of the reason for why they didn't necessarily want to bring Nikki up at first, because if we're coming up as villains, where do you put the girl when we're getting our asses kicked? You know what I mean? So like as villains, you're going to go up there and you're going to batter people and then get battered. And I think Vince didn't really want to have to think about what to do with Nikki at that point. Later, like a year and a half, 2 years, maybe it had a better idea for what was happening, but it was just timing with a lot of those things.
Yeah.
But listen, we still got to travel the world together, and we had so much fun on the road. Like, we do 6 hours, 7-hour drives, and it would fly by. The three of us, managed to do. We must have a lot of fun. Even like EY would choose these random Airbnbs, sometimes good, sometimes terrible. And we would sometimes bring people in our car. So we'd always like hire a giant car, like a what are they called, Axel?
Dodge minivan.
Minivan. So like guys would jump in. It would be in English some week. It would be John Spears another week. We randomly would shared a house with Tommy Dreamer and stuff. All these things just kept happening. But we had like such a good time, and like anytime anybody was stuck, they would jump in with us and stuff like that. It was just one of those things. It was a really cool roster. Axel and I had the time of our life because we'd be playing 10 every week with the boys.
Amazing.
There was a really, really good culture in SmackDown locker room. Like Axel was really good at attacking. I had to learn how to fucking play it. So, but we ended up having such a laugh. Like and like that was such a crew to be around. We also got to witness some really cool moments in WWE history, like when Hulk Hogan came back. Axel doing his so there's some fucking cool
Don't
moments.
get caught, brother.
Oh, don't get caught. Like that's but the less said about that, the better. But no, we had a wonderful experience. And like for me personally, like getting to know Axel was really fucking cool. Like finding out about him growing up in East Germany and being really surprised at the parallels between East Germany and Northern Ireland was really unusual for me, because I'd obviously like read and watched a lot of videos about stuff like Berlin Wall coming down, and I went to Berlin when I was younger, and I wanted to try and understand a little bit of the history, and then to meet somebody who fucking lived it, was really fucking cool. And the stories he would tell me about his dad and his mom and stuff like that was awesome. So to be able to kind of like connect with Axel as a person made this amazing. And that's why when Progress came up with the idea of Hab's team, it was like, yeah, fuck yeah, that sounds great. So we know we live in different countries, and we know that like it's going to be a little bit more situationally hard for promoters and stuff like that. So we're aware of these things, but we knew that like if we got a chance to do this, we would kill it. And that's something that we're both really looking forward to for the next few years, whatever, because we've had so much fun already, and we've only just got started. So.
Did you allowed the name Sanity? That wasn't like obviously trademarked to WWE, or was it just worded differently, or the way it's the editor?
It's just the name.
Killing Dan and Alexander Wolf are copyrighted, but for some reason Sanity isn't, so we're okay for now.
Don't say nothing. Don't tell them.
Just don't tell anybody.
In a lot of things,
Get this out, Jerry.
And in a lot of I think it's not announced like straight up sanity. I mean, not for progress, because they always come with this is
Yeah,
sanity.
yeah, yeah.
So it's a little, little
Playing the word, yeah.
playing the word around the
Mm,
corner, I believe. But I believe also like that the word itself is not like with copywriting and everything, it's sometimes pretty easy. For example, wolf, right? You cannot trademark the name wolf.
yeah,
You can trademark the name wolf with the E on the end. So, but like the animal, you cannot trademark it because and it fits. And um I think the same is with sanity, that you not really able just to copyright that.
can't own the
Maybe with
word,
a
yeah.
different writing, because I remember they had like the writing where like the capital S A and I think N, because it was like Sawyer, Alexander, and Nikki and something, and the
Mhm.
capital Y for young. So that was the idea behind it. Um, yeah, but in general, it does matter in the end. And
Yeah,
if we have to call us like different, but the energy is the same, the vibes are the same, the people are the same, but more, let's say more skilled, more maybe educated about what we can do, what we can do, because the shackles are off, and that
yeah,
makes it so interesting right now because we both are older, wiser, but I think we're more in the game right now.
you're allowed to do more wrestling than eye poking
It's
now.
like the wrestling part, but
Absolutely.
also having fun with it
Yeah,
without just being under a production. Don't get me
mm,
wrong, like as Damo mentioned, like great year in SmackDown, NXT. So you work for live television production, and this is a task for yourself
yeah,
because you have to stick with time and everything. In the indies, it's a little bit different. You're more up for having fun, but you kind of like the boss for yourself because the promoter trusts you in your abilities, so you can do what you want. We can paint our canvas the way we want with the same letters, but different colors, maybe
yeah,
different writing, maybe a different frame or anything. But that's the most fun, and I think right now we're just getting started in that one, so more to
yeah.
come for sure.
Absolutely.
You are
I think
started,
look,
yeah.
I think for us, we can actually kind of play to our strengths in on the indies. Because when we did this in WWE, we were kind of like, it wasn't what we were doing wasn't necessarily what we were signed for or what we were good
Mm.
at. So, we had to learn that as we go. Whereas I think like Castle's an incredible technical wrestler, so we can actually use it now, and it's not out of place because this is Sanity 2.0 as opposed to the original version. So because of that, Axel can be Axel Tischer, who happens to be a part of Sanity, as
Yeah,
opposed to this is Alexander Wolf, who isn't allowed to put fucking wrist lock on. You know what I mean? So, so being able to kind of be a bit more to our own strengths is awesome. Like just our initial limitations were weird. Like the fact that the transition that NXT was going through in 2016, 2017 was bizarre at times. I mean, I got chewed out for random stuff, that just wasn't important. And a year later, that was the stuff that was encouraged. Like when Axel was getting chewed out for rest too much. It's still pro wrestling at the end of the day. We're still
yeah,
wearing fucking knee pads and doing fucking Irish whips. You know what I mean? So, um, but I remember like EY's number one problem with Sanity was we always stuck to the rules. So I can kind of see what he means. It was was one of the dumbest parts of being this crazy group who just let the referee tell us what to do. But
mm,
I think for us in the indies, we literally can just be whatever we want. As Axel says, we're painting the way we want with
yeah,
whatever brush we want, with whatever color we want, and that's made a lot of fun. The two of us like find it really easy planning matches together. Sometimes our opponents it can take for whatever reason. There's times I've come at this show, so Axel plans the match, or there's times Axel comes at the show and I have to fucking do that.
We know each other.
It does happen.
how did
And because we trust each other, and that's I think one of the coolest things. And being a tag team, that's kind of one of the number one important parts. You don't necessarily need to like your partner, but you need
yeah,
to be able to trust them. Thankfully for us, we like each other, trust each other, and that helps. So
you like we started at the start, you're on a North American tour at the minute. You're you're taking bookings in North America, but like, a few weeks ago you won the Progress tag team titles in North America during the WrestleMania weekend. How was that? How was, Demo? That was your triple crown for Progress, right? That's you finally got all the titles. And I know, Axel, you've just been announced to be facing for the Atlas Championship and Progress at the end of the month as well. So
Yeah.
there's a chance for you to catch up with Demo and maybe get your own triple crown
I
eventually.
have to. I have to. Otherwise, it's like it's again like this guy, massive successful, not only in Progress but in general, So I have to catch up, and also like it's like that's one of my ticks, the symmetry. Just one belt, one shoulder. I have two shoulders. I can tell.
It's a real issue for him. It's a real issue for him.
Yeah. So no, but first of all, it's always nice just to get another opportunity just to prove myself,
Yeah.
especially against a guy like Yoshi. Like
Yeah.
he came from Japan over to England. He lives in London, and just imagine that being a Japanese dude, just living in a different culture. In general, it's just I spent a couple of weeks, maybe a month in Japan over there, and me as in Central European over there was pretty challenging. It was nice though, but after a third week, I was kind of like, can't wait to see real food again. Right. So, but just get in his shoes right now. But like, he's beloved everywhere. He's a great athlete. He's a hell of an athlete. Like, it's insane. He's sometimes here in Germany and teaching guys sumo wrestling, right?
Really?
And yeah, he's a juggernaut, but he's also a very loving guy. And again, like, I respect him a lot, and but I don't respect him too much. So in that case, I want to become the new Atlas champion for Progress. But in general, like, it was very nice. Not only for me just to pass the border again to the States, coming over mixed feelings. I lived here for 6 years. I lived in Florida for 6 years and toured around the States, but just passing the border again. And I mean, I don't like inner cities so much, so Philly is not so my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But in general, it was kind of like nice just to breathe the air there again, just maybe to eat the food again. But I was also happy just to leave again for Germany because
The food's terrible.
yeah, so that's maybe one of the reasons. But in general, like, just it's more like a flashback for me, or was more like a flashback to me, and it will be especially for the upcoming tour because I go back to Florida. But winning the title there was special because I think representing Progress, representing Germany,
Yeah.
representing Sanity again in the States, it was very special. And just to tick the box and becoming the first ever German Progress champion, but also
Really?
becoming tag team champion with my one of the best friends I have in the wrestling business in life. Just everything came together. The stars were aligned, and it was a lucky and a happy moment for me.
Yeah, you were mentioning before we started recording, what it was like to be back, during WrestleMania week and bumping into, old friends. And,
Yeah.
how was it for you, Demo, being in, in around WrestleMania week, like with everybody around?
So it's probably worse for me because I was staying in the WWE hotel. So
Oh, yeah,
I keep
yeah.
fucking running into people. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. No, that was it was cool. It was cool. Like, even meeting some of the staff members and stuff like that who I got on really well with was awesome. But then, like, I'm meeting people like William Regal and all, like, randomly bumping into him. Axel met him like about 20 minutes before I did as well. It was hilarious. And just people who were, massively influential on our lives, let alone our careers. It's very cool. I'm not a big fan of those scenarios, where you're like, I don't know how to explain this.
Trapped in the hotel.
Axel's got issues here. Axel's got issues here. He doesn't speak English, like, fucking, But for me, these scenarios are weird for me, like, because it's like running into ex-girlfriends or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, it's good to see you, but
Yeah,
over
yeah.
here, But when it's your pals, it's different, Sorry, go ahead, Alex.
I had the same feeling because I was meeting up with Ludwig and with Gunter, and
Yeah.
I went to the hotel, got dropped off by the Uber, and as soon as I want to enter the hotel, I see Shawn Michaels and Matt Bloom. to one of the people we were very close in our time and in a very good relationship with them. And I was kind of like, I don't want to be the mark right now, just kind of like fitting in. And because I always feel like I'm kind of begging for something, and I hate to beg for something. I like to work for something and
Hmm.
earn it, but I
Yeah.
would never ever would text somebody, hey, can I get a job or something? And I would be very desperate to do that, and that's something I really not want to. So my intention was not let's say hello, let's be nice, let's whatever, see how they react. And for I told you before we recorded, it was for me like a homecoming because everybody was so warm, welcoming me back, seeing me again. Hey, how you been? Nice to see you, etc., etc. Um, but it always feels weird. And as Damo described, it's kind of like the ex-girlfriend, but you kind of like you guys broke up on good
Yeah,
terms,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, it is what it is. You got released, right? And I mean, for Damo is probably less awkward than for me because Nikki's still employed by
Hmm.
WWE, and you probably and he has seen some guys around there and yada yada
Yeah.
yada. But for me, it was the first time seeing guys like Bloom and Sean again, and Will Regal and like all those guys. So in the end, it was a good experience, but it's so awkward, and you kind of like you stay in the corner and you kind of like want to be invisible, and somebody comes up to you, hey, what's up? And they treat you like, hey, what's up, buddy? Long time no see. And like, yeah, it's very weird, very awkward.
It's one of those things. It's like they're all lovely people, and
Hmm.
you remember that when you meet them. But it's the whole before you meet them, you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, you know. But when you meet them, it's great, you know. And this happens. Like I went backstage at NXT last year when Nikki, or 2 years ago, when Nikki was doing a show with Piper. Her and Piper were doing a tag match at NXT, and my sisters were here, so I took my sisters to NXT. And they brought me backstage, and I was like, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" Like, but it was great seeing everybody, and like you know, Killer fucking takes me aside and said, "You should be here," and all this stuff. You know, you like the people who were so influential with our
Yeah.
lives, for them to be still so lovely and gracious is incredible. But you know, listen, it's a great experience. But outside of that, what's really fucking cool is all those independent shows and stuff like that are happening
Yeah.
all at the same time. It's such a great opportunity for you to meet random people. Like actually, I met Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson right after we won the fucking tag belts, and we're just like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is chances of this? You know what I mean? It's so fucking weird. Like, and they're both so lovely. We'd met Ricky before. Ricky came to a seminar in for a week in the PC, and I got to work with him, and he was so lovely. Like, and then we meet Robert for the first time. Robert's fucking cool as shit. Like, he's been so nice, and we're just like, I watched this guy 100 fucking times. You know what I mean? If maybe more, you know. So yeah, and like you know, obviously, it's a great opportunity for a lot of younger lads coming through, younger lads and ladies, to get noticed effectively because you know people from all over the world come and do those independents. You know, and progress on like giving like what, 25 kids. Well, not Axel's not necessarily a kid anymore. He looks like one, you know. But you know, 25 wrestlers like visas and stuff like that is absolutely insane. Like I can't believe they did it, but I'm so proud that they did. So many people who maybe would not have got that opportunity,
Yeah.
or at least not yet. You know, they're still young and whatever else. To get that opportunity to be rubbing elbows with people who are like killing it right now, or people who are about to get signed, or people who've just been released and things like that. And there's a lot of like WWE talent coming backstage to these shows and stuff. Like Axel was for Bloodsport. There
Yeah.
was a lot of WWE there, you know, including executives were all there. So you know that must have been amazing for some of the younger talent. So like that part, like I'm sure is incredible. I was one of those people who I'd always try and do. I'd be super busy on WrestleMania in Britain because a lot of shows would always happen.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
wouldn't always go over. I wouldn't always go over for the Indies America. I generally seem to stay at home because we were flying. We would do a full week shows in Britain or Ireland, you know. So like I didn't necessarily go before WWE. So I'm going there now every year, and every year it's so different each year. Like one year I was wrestling at 2 in the fucking morning. You know, another time I was up early at like 10 in the morning. Thankfully for Axel and me, this was an easier shift. It was 3 p.m.
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But we were sandwiched between the Japanese show and then the hardcore show, wasn't it? It was a really bizarre mix, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it was a very cool experience, and if we do it again next year, like I'm sure we will, because Progress have desires to do a lot more in the USA, especially with their partnership now with Defy.
I was going to mention
And that's
that. Yeah,
Axel and I are going to be in Defy on May 10th. It's going to be an incredible. Axel hasn't experienced it yet. I'm really excited for him. The way I can describe it, Axel, is, do you remember how Hamburg was about 8 years ago, 9 years ago? It
Yeah.
was one of the coolest venues.
Still to
It's
this day,
effectively,
but yeah. We in
yeah,
Germany we say Hexenkessel, so it's like a big
yeah,
pot of witches getting nuts, like so.
yeah. So that's Washington, and I think
yeah,
you're going to love it. So it's going to be such a cool experience for us. We're against the Midnight Heat out there in Seattle. That'll be a lot of fun. Those guys are an old school tag team, even though they're both younger than me and Axel. But we're going to have a lot of fun. We'll tear it up, and it'll be a great experience for him. And like, this is just the start of our kind of sanity in the USA. We've got more on as well in the next while. And we've been. This is one of the things that I know you're going to ask. Like, what do we see next for Sanity, like that? Over the next few months, we're going to be in about 6 different countries or whatever. So I just got like a Denmark promoter getting in touch with me, Axel. Apparently the two of us are going to be there next year, whatever. So that's Denmark,
So
possibly Austria, England, Scotland, Ireland. So there's a bunch of that all happening in the next few months. I don't want to announce the who's
don't
until
spoil
they're
anything. Yeah.
yeah. It's
but for us it's very cool. Like we decided the team is Sanity again, and the floodgates have started open. People are immediately getting in touch with us, and we understand like this is difficult for promoters because we're living in 2 different countries.
Yeah.
To try and get
everything is
us
possible. I'm not
exactly.
afraid just to take the plane and just come over to the States. It's just sitting in the plane, getting drinks and food served. So hey, life is beautiful, right?
Tough
As
life,
long as
bro.
as long as the visa's up to date, you're okay.
It is.
Honestly, and that's the coolest part. What Progress did.
Yeah,
Axel had done this process, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, and the difference this time to the last time, Axel, I'm sure, was very different.
Yeah, for sure. No, forever grateful. And again, props to Progress. Thank you very much for that. So
yeah. Lee and Martin are good dudes. So
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Fantastic lads. We've
yeah,
enjoyed. Like, we didn't, first started wrestling for Progress. Like, you're when promoters tell you things, you're just like, yeah, sure, whatever,
yeah.
But everything they've said has happened, So, and it's like you can't fault them at all. Like, yeah, as I say, I'm still kind of bamboozled that they did the visas for 20 people or 30 people, whatever it was. Like that to me that's a massive step by an independent
Yeah,
company. Like,
huge.
massive step.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like when Axel and I, when we first went to WWE, we had to pay for our own visa, right? Because Dudley had so many foreigners come and then leave, So their whole thing was, well, we'll make them pay for their visas now, So we first went to WWE, we did it ourselves effectively. Whereas, a lot of lads now are getting this chance, like, because they don't have the financial ability to do it themselves. So to be able to get this done for them, and it's going to be very exciting the next couple of shows we do out there, because it's only going to get better, especially as fans get more comfortable and fans get more used to what we're bringing to the table. But we were very happy with the first show there. Yoichi and RKJ had a killer.
Yeah, it was wicked. Yeah,
Wicked match. Doris and Lycos had an insane main event. And it's only going to get better as these girls get more experience. You know what I mean? So. But yeah, definitely, like, very excited for the future, and for us personally as Sanity, we know that we're the older statesmen of locker rooms. And one of the reasons why I love Axel is Axel is so great with younger talent, and it's something that, like, I think, like, the ones who do approach him, they know that he'll always give them, like, honest answers, and he'll do anything he'll say will be to help. And I know that when I first came through this industry, like, there wasn't a lot of people like that around. The older ones didn't understand enough to be able to give good advice. It was only if you met the likes of Robbie Brooks and stuff like that who more than happy to give you advice. But if you didn't meet him, you were meeting people who maybe weren't able to help you. So it's great that I think that we're a part of this roster, but also it's great watching the people coming to Axel and asking for advice, or coming to myself, whatever, and wherever we can help, because, like, our goal is to try and make something special with Progress. We want Progress to be the alternative to American wrestling, effectively.
Yeah.
And like they're doing a hell of a job, Martin and Lee and the whole team there. And it's been awesome to be a part of the crew, because we know that we're a lot more costly than it would be a lot easier to bring people in from London, as opposed to bring in somebody from America and somebody from Germany. Like, that immediately that's a more difficult circumstance. So all respect to them. They know that we're going to give 100% every time we get in the ring, and we're going to do our best to help around us as much as we can. And that's our way of giving back, as one, to the product itself, and two, to the future talent.
Yeah. I think what Damo mentioned is like very important, and I see it's the same. So we got taught by the biggest company in the world, WWE, and the WWE still to this day, it's not about the single wrestler there. It's about the company.
Yeah.
Right. So of course they had like Steve Austin's, John Cena's back in the day, Hogan, whatever. So it's that one megastar, but like everybody understands it's not about this one person, because this one person would be nobody if the cameraman wouldn't work like 100%, if the production guy wouldn't work 100%. And the same is with Progress. We all understand it's not about the individual person, even if they have like a fly-in, like a draw, I don't know, wrestler XYZ coming in and just he's a big name or whatever. But the core group of Progress, and that's all like the guys and girls you have seen in Philly.
Yeah.
It's a lovely group of guys, and I consider Progress my home in England, as I would consider, for example, WXW my home in Germany. But this group is very dear to me because even if I'm not a super social guy a lot of times, this locker room is for me like I can sit there and just, shoot the breeze. Like myself. But also everybody understands we're here not just to be kind of like promote ourselves. We promote the entire company. We promote the guys who put their finances into this brand of Progress, just to make more out of it, just to give more opportunities for more guys who will come up, guys and girls come up and want to achieve a lifelong dream, is maybe just live from wrestling or just perform on the big platform, perform against the best of the best in the world. And that makes Progress such a great company, because everybody understands it's always about the team.
100%. I think Progress, that's the one good thing about Progress. They are a team. Like you said, there's no one individual who thinks they're better than the company. For an independent company, like, when one big names do come in, like yourselves, everybody is part of the one team. So it's great that Progress are, they're run the way they are. So I think that's why everybody seems to love them so much.
Well, I think I know that it's been very difficult coming out of COVID, you know what I mean, and coming out, like speaking out and all that kind of stuff. So there has been a really kind of sledgehammer to push wrestling. But for us, we're seeing the difference. Like, what other company has, safeguarding? What other company has, physiotherapists there at shows? They have counseling service available for all the talent, all the things that WWE don't even offer that. Well, actually, sorry, they just started offering it. But when we were there, these things weren't necessarily available. It's amazing that these things are available. Like, that's going a step above. I've been putting them over for the visas, right? That means nothing to me. I've already got a green card. But I think it's amazing that they're doing it for everybody else. I think it's incredible, right? Because it's just, I understand the cost, but I know that their long-term goal, for what they want it to be, it makes sense. But it's still a massive undertaking, But even paying for a counselor for, it's bloody fortune these days in the UK, so I think it's incredible. And then we've always got first aiders and everything backstage. It couldn't be better organized. Listen, I've been an indie promoter a long time ago, very small level, but I remember how difficult it was to even get St. John's ambulance, to make sure they'd be available for the shows. That's a big deal. You know what I mean? So the fact that all this is organized at all times is a testament to how great crew is there. And And like, listen, like there's other companies doing a great job, all across Europe and whatever else. So I'm not burying anybody at all, but it's just for everything that the progress they're doing is incredible. And like for Wolf and I, like it's been awesome walking in, and just literally like been welcomed right away. And you're a part of this crew, and Wolf says sometimes you've just tried and had a hard day travel and whatever else. You maybe want to be more relaxed, and can be. The boys don't make it. They don't make it hard for you. They work with you, and it's been incredible. Like I never expected an indie to be this advanced, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
especially coming out of COVID. Like yes, there might be big draws, and everything else, which is great, but to be able to reinvest so much into the actual structure is amazing, And as I said, look, it's only really taken off, the whole merger with Defy, the partnership with Noah.
yeah.
Who knows what the next couple of years is going to mean, And
Yeah,
for
there's a
Axel and I
reason.
being, well,
There's a
absolutely, for
reason
Axel,
Lee was named. Yeah, Lee was named Britain's best boss a few years ago. So there must be there for a reason.
absolutely. Well, listen, Axel and I are the Progress Tag Team Champions. They won't call them the World Tag Team Champions.
Yeah,
So for Axel and I, we're happy to go to USA. We're happy to go to Noah in Japan, and
yeah,
we'll take on everybody's best, and we'll show them that we'll fly the flag for Progress, we'll fly the flag for Europe, we'll fly the flag for Sanity, and we'll look forward to every part of the way. But Axel, you've had like such a good relationship with WWE as well. Obviously, you've seen how it's grown as well. So I don't want to completely dominate or even Progress yet.
Oh, good, man. Oh, good.
yeah. Right, we are looking forward to seeing what you do with Progress. You've pretty much promoted them as much as you can there, and they fully deserve it. So we can't wait to see what you do as the tag team champions and possibly the Atlas champion, Axel, in the next couple of weeks. I want to say congratulations, Axel, as well, because at the end of May, I think it's the 22nd of May 2004, you had your first match. Is that correct? So your 20-year anniversary is coming up.
Kind of,
I
kind
think
of. But
if cage match is right.
yeah, if cage match is never right, but
It's
it's
never
close to.
right.
Yeah, like I tell you why, because apparently they don't count matches in France,
Oh, really?
because my match counts are pretty effed up, because I had a couple tours in France and never got mentioned. 2007, 2009, it was almost once or twice a month, so they still have to report. So no, but in general, like I start very early with wrestling, and I had some couple matches earlier, but I wouldn't consider it as professional. It
Yeah, yeah,
wasn't backyard either. It was small. Maybe that's called not amateur wrestling, like not like the shoot stuff,
yeah,
but
yeah.
like it's kind of like little amateur pro wrestling something. So, you know, you look like a wannabe, and you probably have not the knowledge just to call yourself a professional wrestler. But nowadays, everybody
You have to start somewhere, though.
felt like a professional wrestler. But like in my mind, it was not as such as when I started
Hmm.
participating or training at a professional wrestling school. It was GWF in Berlin, where I got taught by two pros how to kind of like, learn the ins and outs of professional wrestling, not only in the ring, outside of the ring, how to behave. We had like the 10 commitments of professional wrestling, or the 10 commitments how to become a pro, stuff like how to kind of like show up, the respect, right? I'm a trainer by myself, and it's kind of a funny story, which makes me a little bit mad, that one of my students, and she had the second match, arrives at the venue and sees her opponent and walks up to her and tells her, "Yeah, we're doing this and that," instead of just, know your role, basically, because the other girl is kind of like a veteran, so she wrestled over 10 years, and you don't have to walk up to her and tell her, "Hey, we're doing this in the match," because that's a no-go. So kind of like learning this, right? So, and still to this day, you have to teach, right? You have to tell up and comers how to behave, which is odd, but Doesn't matter. But yeah, if you want to use 2004, I'm fine with that because I think in that period it was a little bit more interesting than
Yeah,
2001.
yeah.
Also older because I think 2001 I was 14. So
Oh my God.
Off the books. Don't tell anyone. Illegally.
I don't care. I trained my students. My youngest is 15. My youngest student, and I will not put him through the same program as a 21-year-old
Yeah.
because the body's still growing, skeleton and
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
and if he grows up with a broken leg or torn MCL, it's probably not as good as it's never good, but you get the point where I
Yeah.
kind of like want to, you know, a small bump card, but just with a crash pad on it because the older you get, the more you feel the bumps
Mm-hmm.
and you have a limited amount of bumping cards. Some people have like the double stack, some people have just, the standard stack. But if you're young and 15, it's like in amateur wrestling or judo, they bump more,
Yeah.
but in wrestling it's more risk taking. So, but I'm a big advocate of just teaching children in general the foundation of being an athlete. It doesn't matter if it's martial arts or anything like football or whatever. But for example, for martial arts, you can teach them techniques. You can teach them how they move in the ring, how to kind of like work with the ropes without just, make them bump too much or something. And also, you can teach them the culture of wrestling and healthy, not toxic culture of professional wrestling, where they basically, where let's say more and healthier and more mental healthier next generation will take our spots and just become more successful than us. So that's
Yeah.
my mentality behind that. But in general, like just being around 20 years plus, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm super happy to live the dream.
Keep going. Keep it going.
Absolutely. I think
Before
for
let
us,
Go ahead, sorry.
I think for just very quickly, so for us, Axel and I spoke about this like 8 years ago, 9 years ago when we first met. Like, we want to leave business better than we find business,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense. We want it to be when we're gone, we want it to be in a better position. You know what I mean? And that's important. And Axel's doing his very best right there from the youngest trainee
Yeah.
onwards. Like it's the non-toxic rules effectively of professional wrestling. And I love that. Like especially for the next generation coming out of Germany, are going to have a great person, a great mentor, and a great ally, effectively, for their journey. So fair play, Axel. I'm sure that the lads there, and is it Bremen? Is that whatever your school is?
No, Dresden.
In Dresden, the school in Dresden are going to have a fantastic school there. And hopefully, if anybody's watching this from Germany, that hopefully they can maybe come along and learn from a true pro because Axel will look after you. That is the truth.
There is people from all over. Like I think Golden Boy Santos, didn't he spend some time over in WWE? So he does spend some time over there, doesn't he?
Yeah, but for him, I think it's like he came back out of the third retirement or something. But yeah,
I'm
I
away
do.
from somebody.
Yeah, it's like he trained in Westside WXW Westside
Okay.
Extreme Wrestling Academy, stuff like that. But yeah, I think he started 2017 something, and again he retired a couple times. He came back a couple times. So I know he recently wrestled against Damo in Ireland, and then I
Yeah.
saw him again in Oberhausen, but I do not know too much about him, so I cannot say anything
No.
besides that.
Axel's on the East Coast, so you've got a different whereas the WXW skills on the West
Yeah.
Coast.
All right.
But I wrestled Golden Boy in I think it was in Belfast, I think.
Belfast.
And he does a bit for OTT, and like we haven't really spoken much about OTT, but we'll be talking about it soon, Jerry. That's the best. I don't want to spoil anything, but there might be a bit of sanity in OTT, and we'll see.
Get something in your eye.
We won't give it away soon.
I don't want to give it away because
Before I let you go, Damo, you've taken part before with when Liz was on a quiz with Liz, but something we started doing at the end of all our interviews is 10 things you should know about our guests. So we're going to shake it up a little bit. This is 10 things you should know about each other. So I'm not sure if you've ever seen the TV show Mr. and Mrs. They find out what you know about each other. Just 10 quick questions. You can either put up, there's no right or wrong answers. You can just put up your hand if you think it's you, or you can just point in the direction of who you think it is.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, you ready? Who's the better driver?
Probably Axel. Yeah.
I'm efficient.
Who takes the longest?
Very efficient German, you know.
Who takes the longest to get ready?
Me, definitely me.
You
think?
Yeah, I'm a sloth.
I think I'm worst for after the show, so I take forever to get my gear off me and everything. And Axel will be waiting for me ready to go for food, and I'm like, ah.
But I'm very slow when it comes to pack my stuff together, because I'm also I'm very clumsy in forgetting things. So I have to check the hotel room at least twice, and Damo checks it if we room together one more time, and then you need this, right?
Because you believe something important.
Who has the worst habits?
I think we both have the bad habits, bro. No, Axel's great. He doesn't really have bad habits. No, you're pretty good. You're really good. You're really easy to live with. So, yeah.
I try to control myself, but
who has the best taste in music?
Oh, Axel. Yeah, Axel helps me. So if we were rooming together, Axel, and he knows like to get us ready for the gym or whatever else. He'll put on a playlist to get us pumped and get us ready. Whereas I'm more likely to lie there watching football on my fucking phone or whatever. Like, we need to go to the gym, bro.
But your taste of music is also good. So
thank you. I appreciate it.
Who's the most stubborn?
It depends on situations. So
yeah.
Sometimes he's seen me hot and I've seen him hot. So I think we'll take a balance on that one.
A draw. Who has the worst memory?
Oh, probably me. Yeah.
That depending. Like sometimes I remember stuff when I was 5 years old, something because I connected with some stuff, and I checked the time on my phone, and then fuck, what time was it? So
long-term memory is better.
Yeah.
Who swears the most?
Oh, definitely me.
I try to control myself because so it's like, but I would say
Deutsch.
In Deutsch, yeah. So a lot of times I would cuss too much and cuss more in German, but I'm cussing quicker in English, but I would pass it over when it comes to watching football on the phone to Damo.
Especially watching Man United, I know, yeah.
He has seen me wake up like 4 a.m. to watch a game when we're in fucking LA, and he turns over. He's what the fuck is he? I'm sitting there like trying to be quiet, going.
Hernandez is shit.
He has seen me at my worst.
Who's most likely to laugh during a serious moment?
Yeah, it depends on what you think is a serious moment, because we don't. There are people when we were in America, so people get really angry about stuff that we didn't find that big a deal. So sometimes it would be difficult, and we would find ourselves laughing maybe at the wrong time. But Axel particularly can be.
I have trouble to eliminate my clown in my head, because I'm a very so if you describe something happening as very bad, it's almost like a movie in my head. But I watch too many like trash that I'm kind of like, Homer Simpson, the ape. So right here.
Brilliant. Who tells the best jokes?
Oh shit!
I was a Damo for sure, like scenarios and everything.
I'm not. Our memory's fucking terrible. So like, it won't be like it won't be one-liners or anything like that. It'll be stories that somehow.
Yeah.
Fucking, but no, we I think Axel holds his own with this stuff as well. Yeah, he holds his own.
But it's I think it's always the back and forth, especially like a backstage chatter where you kind of like everybody puts in a story in from a locker room or whatever, like something like that. But
I feel bad for Axel because we had to teach him Scottish as well as English, and he got he had to learn a lot of terrible expressions from Nicky.
relation.
So sometimes like, Axel will be like, "What the fuck are these two talking about?" Like, because Nicky has a completely different dialogue than I do. So some of the words and expressions. So fair play to Axel. You know, he's a good sport, and he had to learn, you know, an extra version of English. You know.
Last question. Who's most likely to turn heel on the other?
Oh,
I'm a
depends.
backstepping
I
cunt
agree with you.
sometimes. No, like in my tag team partner history, I was always the one who. So
Oh shit! There you go. So I need to watch out for you,
You
motherfucker.
better watch out.
watch out. No, would never. I'm too afraid of the consequences. No,
If he fucking
but
turned heel on me next week when he's in my fucking house, that's gonna be really awkward. You know what I mean?
come with the rear naked.
Not next week anyway. You know?
Brilliant. That's the 10 questions. If you took anything away from it, you know, you can talk about it on your road journeys and give out about music and tell bad jokes. But thanks for playing 10 things you should know about each other.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you very much. I think we did well there.
I think it was okay. You're still a tag team. You haven't broken up, so that's the main thing.
Yay.
Before I let you go, one last question. I know Damo does, but Axel, do you believe in Joe Hendry?
Of course. Yeah, I believe in your. So, last question, but a funny answer to that. Shake that X for me. So those 5 words. Those 5 words.
Hey, Joe has given the Progress fans
Yeah,
whole
he handed it to me and I took it and I shaked it. I'm still shaking it to this day. No, no, I the first time I met him, it was for a wrestling carnival in England, Nottingham, and the promoter Gary Ward, he was texting me, so are you okay with that Joe Hendry will do one of his special entrants for you? And I don't take myself too serious. I'm not against it. And hey, when is that kind of like gimmick, when this his stuff he does, I'm honored. Yes, of course, let's do it. So, and then I got in contact with him and he sent me like the video and I find it hilarious. So he kind of made like an entrance gimmick image from, he started with Billy Gunn's I'm an ass man, but with I'm an X-Man. And then he came up with shake that ass for me, but shake that X for me. And he did kind of like a video of like The Shining, Stephen King's, where like the guy, you know, hey, it's Johnny, right? So it was super hilarious. And I came out first and he came out second, and I was laughing my ass off, but I couldn't show it. Right? I was serious mad about it. No, I loved it. And then I think I'm not sure if it was the first time for Progress, but for sure one of the first gigs at the Electric Ballroom, where people just kind of chant and shake that axe for me, and I'm kind of, you know, as you progress in time and you learn how to work appropriately towards the people, you take that. And now it's whenever we start a match, that's the first thing I have to get off, because otherwise it would not be, you know, they would not be happy. And you always want to make, you know, your peers happy, so, and your crowd happy. No, I believe in Joe Hendry because I think it's mad and funny and fantastic that he's really trending in the music charts for a song,
amazing.
which is, by the way, amazing. It's an entrance theme, but this guy is the real deal because he's not a good wrestler, not only a good wrestler, he's also a very talented and a creative mind. And the way he thinks, like in different dimensions, where some others says, yeah, just give me an entrance theme. When he thinks around it, he always has a special entrance for everyone, right? And even if he don't, he makes something out of it. So he's amazing, and I'm very happy for him that you know, his success comes around and just from the wrestling business to the music industry. And yeah, we all should believe in your Hendry, and most importantly, we all should listen to the song, download the song, put
Yes,
rating down, put the comment down. Let's push that song and just
absolutely.
let's get him up on #1 everywhere.
100%. We love Joe
No,
Hendry.
there's nothing I can add to it. I've known Joe for Jesus Christ, 14 years or something. So he's always been a pain in my heart, but he's also a pain in my heart in a positive way. So
He's amazing.
that might actually just be a 300-pound man. I don't know, but no, he's a good lad, and this has been amazing. I've been following the fucking thing. He got to #1 in the Everton charts in the UK, and he got #5 in the USA, which is fucking crazy.
Crazy.
The size of USA, that is mind blowing.
Yeah.
He was in Ireland, #10 in Ireland or something. Like, it's just, for me, that's fucking nuts. And there's talk that he might be in the official singles charts for the UK, which is that is nuts. But that's a testament to Joe. I just covered it there. He's so creative, and he's willing to go to levels that nobody else is. And like, this is a guy who, like, yes, he can sing and all that kind of stuff. This is a black belt judo, wrestling for Britain in the Commonwealth Games and stuff. Like, it's nuts that he's the same guy who does all this stuff. So, but he's been unlucky with his timing in pro wrestling, but he seems to really be picking it up right now. TNF, giving him a really good platform, and it's been fun watching. We got to wrestle against Joe and Adam Maxted a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
it was the first Sanity reunited. It was cool doing it with the two of them because they're both friends of mine. So it was an awesome experience for me personally to be teaming with Axeman first and foremost, but also be wrestling with two guys who I like a lot. And Joe's on another planet with this stuff, and it wouldn't surprise me if this time in 6 months' time he's made a brief fortune from the wrestling. So I really hope so. But yeah, he's a great lad. We believe Joe Hendry.
We all believe here. Lads, again, I absolutely appreciate your time coming on. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Like we said at the start, you can find lads. Sanity will be at Defy in Seattle on it was May 20th. May 10th.
May 3rd, we'll be excellent. We're in Ocala, Florida.
Ocala, Florida for All Caribbean Wrestling. It's a partner promotion from it's called For Evolution Wrestling or Few Evolution Wrestling. That's a promotion I used to pass by their school during my time when I lived in Miami and just trained with the guys there. And I texted them, and they had a show there, and yeah, they booked us instantly because they want to have some sanity for their show. So we bring chaos for sure. And I'm super excited, like, just to travel back to Florida and just if something else comes up right now, schedule is pretty open, which is great because, like, just have some time again. As Damo mentioned with the Mania weekends, if you have like 9 shows in one weekend, it's insane. So I'm not mad about just having one show at the weekend and then just have a week off. Just enjoy Florida weather and just then go to Seattle. Just Damo together again on tour and just here to house and at Defy. So looking forward for that tour.
Yeah, and you can also catch lads. You're facing Grizzled Young Veterans as well, aren't you?
Just got announced today. For Burning Heart Pro Wrestling, June 21st. It's a show made by wrestlers, 4 wrestlers, and it'll be something that we're looking forward to. Axel and I, we've never wrestled Grizzled Young Veterans on show. We actually wrestled in training when we were in fitness class a long time ago. It'll be a bit of fun for us to actually get in there with GYV. And we've also, like, Axel's got end of the month with Progress for the Atlas title.
Atlas,
And have you got any other dates in Germany this month, Axman?
It's a show Hamburg. Markthalle is like a pretty nice venue, whereas again, like Hexenkessel, the pot of witches. So it's I don't know how you guys in England and Ireland say to a place which is bananas. Is there a term?
That sounds right.
That, bananas.
Mental, yeah.
Mental.
So it's a place where mental, and it's funny though, because like it's kind of becoming a tag team champion with Damo together is kind of like, luck is with me because 2 days after I won the second title and that show in Hamburg on May 17th, I will compete for the WWE tag team titles. So, three is charm. So maybe I can score the hat trick.
Tag team partners.
Yeah, 3 different tag team partners. I'm a whore.
You'll have to go through security with all those belts.
Yeah, I can't wait. The progress belt is touring with me, of course, and it's not in the checking bag because if they lose it, it would be a waste. So I have to kind of like put it with me, the carry on, and it's always like TSA security is like, are you a fighter? MMA? No,
Cage fighter, man.
Oh, wrestling, awesome. Do you know Hulk Hogan? Something like that. It's always a funny chat.
Brilliant, lads. Again, appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on, lads. It's always like, comment, subscribe, and we'll be back next week with part 2 where we were doing the Irish Wrestling Awards this year. So part 2 will be out next week after the show airs. So again, lads, thanks for your time and enjoy your trip to America.
Thanks.